everybody. Welcome to Storytime with Miss B. Today, since we're in the middle of apple harvest time, we're going to listen to Apples, Apples Everywhere, learning about apple harvest. Harvest is when you go and you collect the fruits and vegetables when they are ripe on the trees and ready to be gathered. So our author, it's in very faint letters on here, is Robin Kuntz, and our illustrator who did these beautiful soft illustrations is Nadine Takvorian. Sometimes we don't say people's names right, but we sure give it a try. So apples, apples everywhere. Plants are turning brown. The air smells fresh. It feels chilly. It's not summer anymore. Time to pick apples. At the apple orchard, trees sag with ripe fruit. That means they're hanging down. They're not up where they should be. The branches are so heavy, they're falling down. Wow, look at those apples. And she says, welcome to the apple harvest. And the sign says, you pick today. Apples come in shades of red, yellow, or green. Apples can be as small as a cherry. They can be as big as a grapefruit. Wow, that's a huge one. I got it, he says. In the orchard, which we learned in another story, orchard is another word for fruit farm. People are busy picking and packing apples. Fruit ladders help workers reach apples high in the tall trees. We need a lot of help in autumn. Autumn is another word for fall. We could eat some of those, he says. Don't drop that apple. Workers put the apples in boxes, and it's best to store apples in a cool place. An apple rots quickly if it's bruised. That's why they say don't drop it. Apple worms live inside some apples. Apple worms are really moth caterpillars. The caterpillars eat the seeds and fruit, and later they squirm their way out. What's worse than finding a worm in your apple? Finding half a worm. Yuck. No, thank you. Some apples taste tart. They make your mouth go, ooh. People like to use them for baking pies. I like the sour ones. Pucker up, he says. I'm not a fan of the tart ones, even in my baking. Sweet, crunchy apples are best for munching. Apples can be used for games, too. Let's bob for apples. We can bob for apples because they float. When you bob for apples, you use just your mouth to try and get an apple out of a barrel or bucket of water. No hands. Cider is made from apples. First, the fruit is crushed, and then the apple juice pours into a bucket. What's that sweet smell? Apple cider. People have harvested apples for thousands of years. It's fun to celebrate the apple harvest with others. And here they give you directions on how to make a dried apple wreath. And this part of the book is called the glossary. That's at the end of the book. They take some of the words that you might not know the definition of, what it means, and they tell you exactly what it means, like autumn, which is what we call fall. And caterpillar, which is a worm-like animal that changes into a butterfly or moth, and the caterpillars hatch from eggs. And they even give you some suggestions on other books about apples to read. So I hope you enjoyed Apples, Apples Everywhere.